and through. But our constitution actually says people have the right to protest, to march, to express their opinions without being armed. At any given time, we as subs, whether it's 1%, whether it's 75, whether it's 3,000, whether it's 300, when they are armed, we have to ensure that law enforcement takes place.
Beka ngolo hlobo ke ugeneral okokuba umhlekazi White lo bekufanele ajongisise izinto ezininzi naye phambi kokuba aveze ezi zigqibo azibeke apha. Uthi ugeneral umthetho siseko welilizwe uvumelana kakuhle noqhankqalazo kodwa ulibeka kakuhle loqhankqalazo kufanele kube ngolinoxolo apha kungaxhonywanga. Xa abantu noma mnye noma babini noma ngamakhulu amangaki xa bexhomile kufanele ijongwe ngamehlo ohlukile kunale ibekwe phansi komgaqo siseko.
I will move away from item 9.5.
Sizawuthi ukushenxa apho.
And go to item 11 sub 3A of the standing orders.
Sizawuya ngoku phaya kwi standing orders 11 sub 3.
My emphasis will be on what a successful operation would be, and I would like you to read that together with the public order policing policy, which is it FFF1? Is it not part of?
Umuntu umhlekazi uMalindi uza kuyifunda lento ajongisise ne gaqo indlela ekusetshenzwa ngayo phaya kwa public order policing.
National Commissioner, I will skip that because it has not been introduced as an exhibit and we have not made arrangement for it to be distributed.
Masiyeke leyo Commissioner ngoba ayikavezwa olokwebhu apha njenge exhibit sizawuthi xa selivelile ke sibe sesibuya kulo.
What were you referring to? Exhibit R is policy and guidelines policing of public protest gatherings and major events. Is that the document?
No, it's not that one, Chairperson. It's crowd management for section members, POP policy document on crowd management. It's page 730 of the subs bundle. I will defer it for now. May we move to 11.3E of the standing orders.
Sisepona phaya standing order.
Chair, if I may just point out to Mr. Malindi that FFF1 is the POP policy document on crowd management. I'm not sure if that's the document he wants to refer to.
I will defer it until there's certainty about what it is, Chair. National Commissioner, may we read 11.3E, which says that the use of force must be discontinued once the objective has been achieved.
Xa sifunda apha ke lithi usebenziso lwezigalo kufanele lumiswe xa into lento bekujonga ukuba yenzeke isiphunyeziwe.
After scene 1, where, according to the police version, there was an attack on them, I suggest to you that there was no reason to pursue those who had run to copy 2 and copy 3.
Ndithi ke emva kokuba kwenzeke esahlakalo sokuqala phaya ku-scene 1 kwenzeke
Yeah, I
loo
thought
nto
you weren't
bekungekho
going to deal
sizathu
with operational
sokokuba
matters with this one,
balandelwe
but to reserve your questions for
Ababaleka.
those who were actually at the scene at the time. Because any evidence she can give on the matter will be of a secondary nature based upon the briefing she received.
I take that point, Chairperson, and we are glad to be reminded, even when we repeat what my learned friends, Mr. Bezos and Madlanga, have traversed. We don't wish to do that.
uthi abanawuphinda-phinda imibuzo eyabuza ngumhlekazi uMadlanga nomhlekazi uBizos bazawugqitha apho.
National Commissioner, I hope I won't repeat what Mr. Bezos has traversed. I would like to go back to the statement of Mybeck.
Funa nje ukuphinda kancinci kwi-statement sika-Maybeck ngaphandle kokuthi ndiphinda-phinda into eyabuzwa ngumhlekazi uBizos.
I think it's F7.
Eso statement endithetha ngaso F7 exhibit number.
Yes, it is. Why did you not, in the spirit of Standing Order 262 and openness mentioned in your statement, why did you not mention in your statement that there was at least one incident, such as the one referred to by Mybeck, which you consider doubtful?
Intoni kwi-statement owasenza esesakho ungayivezanga lento yayiveza uMaybeck kuba kukho into enye nje yavela ethi xa ube ungumntu uboveza inyaniso yonke.
You are starting from a judgmental point that says I was not open. And I think, again, it will be different vantage points.
Qala apha ngokunditshola okokuba bendingavezi yonke into ndingaphumeli obala ngayo yonke into.
I've answered that question yesterday by stating that the fact that there is that statement and that it was referred to IPID, in my definition, there was openness. In a similar fashion, I contrasted that with the investigation that we've had into the one that was done by General Munu. I didn't refer to it because I thought sufficiently this matter is in the public, it's open, it's known, and how you see it probably is different from how I see it.
Andiyivezanga le nto ke nezinye izinto zonke ngoba ndicinga okokuba zikhona apha ziphambili zivulekile ukude sibe khona esi statement kwenziwa okokuba ndandithethile ngaso ukuze sikwazi ukuphanda.
You do indeed appear to be critical of Mybeck's statement because you said in answer to Mr. Bezos yesterday about Mybeck's statement, and I hope we have an accurate record of your answer. What worried me is that this is a warrant officer talking of a constable, and why I was asking the question, I was asking, did you see his face? Did you see his name badge? And the warrant officer was senior to the constable, and it worried me because he should have known, he should have shown more responsibility. And you further said every member was required to produce a statement, and Myberg had an opportunity. But he didn't say anything in his first statement and waited 2 months to say something. And then he gave incomplete evidence because he couldn't even name the person. So you are critical of the fact that he only came 2 months after the incident to report this incident that he alleges. Are you not being critical of his conduct?
Onayo nge-statement esikaMyberg ukuthi senziwa inyanga ezimbini okokuba senzakele esisehlakalo angazange athethe ngaso phambilini. Emva kokuba mfundele yonke into ebekade ibuzwa ngumhlekazi uBhizo Sizolo nokuphendula kwakhe uGeneral Bophendle wathini.
I'd rather say I'm concerned. I'm not critical. I was concerned, and I mean the conversations we've had yesterday was around whether I considered it very important, and I did say yes, I considered it important. And I'm concerned indeed by those issues that you are raising.
Ndiyendasho nezolo kokuba ndiyithatha njengento ebalulekile gqitha lethethwa nguMyberg. Mangithi nje ingxaki endinayo ngayo njengoba bese ndiyibekile ke ndachaza.
And did I understand your evidence well yesterday that the fact that Myberg's allegations are now being looked at by the Independent Police Investigative Division, IPID, does not preclude you from initiating internal proceedings such as disciplinary actions against any police officer who is reported to have misconducted themselves?
Mandithi uthe ngoba indaba kaMyberg isisezandleni ze-IPD nqandi oko kokuba xa kukho i-disciplinary action othanda ukuyijongisa kuye ungayenza loo nto.
Let me say, even in policing, there's justice.
Mandithi ke na apha emapoliseni ubulungisa buyasebenza.
I can't prejudge Myberg. I must wait for IP to do their investigation, and they do give us recommendations. We as police are policed.
Mandilinde abe IPD.
And they give us their recommendations.
Okokuba benze eyabo ingxelo.
But on top of that,
ukuba senzeke ntoni.
I've said to you, I'm concerned about other things. I am hoping that they would not be addressing issues of warrant officer and constable issues. Those are internal issues. We will look into those.
Sithi esizawujongana nezinto zo warrant officer namapolisa xa sekwenziwe isigqibo esifanele sinikezwe nokuba siluleke senze ntoni.
That will be a process within the SAPS, if I understand you.
Uthi into ezakwenzeka phakathi kwisipolisa la.
Yes, depending on the outcome, because we are seeking to understand it also.
Ewe, emva kokuba sesixelele saboniswa ukuba makwenzeke ntoni.
I would like now to move to the opening statement by the SAPS, which is FFF9.
Mandiyeke kwi-statement esivulayo samapolisa i-opening statements.
A statement which certain, as you testified, that it was drafted in consultation with you for purposes of presenting the SAPS case in these proceedings. Could you please look at paragraph 57?
Paragraph 57, opening statement esi othi sabhalwa nawe ukhona ukuze kubekwe ingxelo phambi kwekomishoni.
If you give me time, I'm still looking for my documents.
Certainly, National Commissioner.
Okay, that's fine.
You said the reference is?
Paragraph 57 on page
Above.
27 of the statement itself.
57, page 27.
We've arrived.
Thank you. The second sentence of paragraph 57 reads as follows. The policies of crowd control and management have proved inadequate to contain this type of situation. The police service will then have to reconsider its practices, policies, training, equipment, and additional resources to better help it address future events of this kind. A recommendation along this would therefore be opposite. That's what you recommend to the Commission. Am I correct?
Nibeka ngolhlobo ke ku commission okokuba izindlela zamapolisa zokulawula iziqeleka zenele kakuhle kuyawudingeka okokuba izindlela nemithetho nokufundiswa nezixhobo kufanele banikezwe zona zenziwe bhetele kwixesha elizayo. Indlela enibeka ngayo kwi-commission leyo?
Yes, we have said this was unprecedented.
Ewe, emva kokuba sichaze okokuba esi sehlakalo esenzeka asizange senzeka apha eMzantsi.
Now, in the spirit of assisting the Commission and openness, were those deficiencies identified to you by the drafters of the statement and through consultations with Mr. De Rover?
Le ngxelo ke nayibhala emva kokuba niye nabonisana nababanye no De Rover.
In the statement of the rover and the statement of the experts that you're talking about and the statements of experts that we had yesterday, all of them really are a medley of inputs that we're going to learn from. At this point in time, they are inputs. And I'm hoping, I've said that yesterday, that the end of this commission and the recommendations that are going to come there are really going to help us shape and deal with the issue that you've raised under 57. At this point in time, it's isolated pockets of inputs coming from your expert, coming from our expert, coming from others. We haven't as yet sat down to consider those. De Rover is an expert. We are not telling him what to do. He is making his input, and we will engage his input like all the inputs of the various experts that will be coming to this commission.
Chaza uGeneral okokuba uDe Rover nezinye ingqali beza nezindululo ezithize siyazithatha sizihlanganise zonke njengoba nibhalile apha ku-57 kuyawuthi ke ekugqibeleni emva kokuba le commission siyenze ingxelo yayo nezindululo bese sizithatha sizihlanganisa zonke ezo zinto sisebenze ngolo hlobo njengoba sibekile apha ku-57.
It will be unhelpful to the Commission if you say we recommend that the Commission make certain recommendations without stating what problems, difficulties, deficiencies that you have recognized. As you sit there, are you able to say to the Commission, these are the following matters that as SAPS and as National Commissioner, I consider important for the Commission to be aware of in order to help us to be able to deal with this situation and similar situations in future and in relation to the past experience of tens of thousands of operations we have conducted. Are you able to say that to the Commission, what the deficiencies are, or any of the generals and other senior police officers that will testify? Do you know if they will be able to be open with the Commission as to what deficiencies they have identified through debriefing sessions through the session at Purchase Room for 9 days and in preparation of their statements coming to this commission.
Kwingxelo ende ke ndizawuthi njengamafuphi ubuza umhlekazi Malindi okokuba kuna ukuyawuba nzima kule commission okokuba uthi ndicela okokuba iCommission yenze lesindululo esithi emva kokuba kungekho ungenaso isizathu sokuba ndiyibeka lento ngoba thina sibone okokuba siphazame apha nalapha impazame zethu zezineze ukuba le commission yenze izindululo emva kokuba sekujongwe yonke into ke ezenzeka kuzo zonke ezi zigameko nezahlakalo ezenzeka ngaphambilini kude kufike kwesi.
I do believe that that type of exercise would be important, but when and how is the issue that perhaps at this point in time we haven't sufficiently dealt with. There are snippets of in the submission, in our presentation, in others. We do touch on some of those things, but that type of exercise has not been entered into precisely because of these deliberations, because there are various inputs that are going to shape things. We don't want to come here with preset thoughts.
Asikwazi okokuba thina senze izindululo sihambele le commission ngaphambili ngoba kuvela izinto phaya kuyawuthi ke ekugqibeleni xa sezivele zonke ezo zinto sekuhlanganiswa yonke into kube sekwenziwa isindululo esisodwa kuba makulungiswe apha naapha kuye kwaphanzwa apha naphaya.
If you turn to the Rover's statement, FFF11,
Masize ke kwintetho ka-De Rover
are you there, National Commissioner?
Yes, I am.
If you could read paragraph 37 and read it with 92.
asiyaphaya kwe 37
you will see that he says he was given unfettered access to any and all SAPS information and data related to either directly or either directly or indirectly to the Marikana public order incident. And in fairness, at paragraph 92, he also says that
92 the statements are
he has not been able to study all the material, interview all the relevant witnesses, etc. Can you see those two paragraphs?
Council is reading from page paragraph 37.
Paragraph 37 and 92.
Okay. All right.
37 naku 92 uthi ekwenzeni wonke umsebenzi wakhe uDe Rover uyawanika zonke ke izinto ezifanele imfanelo ezabezinikwa ngamapolisa maqondana nesehlakalo esi saseMarikana.
Your thunder was being stolen. What paragraphs are you referring to?
37 and 92.
90, thank you.
Wafunda naku 92 uthi ke phaya ku 92 kude kube ngoku akawazifumananga ithuba lokuba ayifunde yonke leyo mibhalo ayiphiwe ngamapolisa.
And with all the information that he has as an expert, and he makes certain observations, you would, as SAPS, embrace those and want the Commission to consider. We have agreed on that.
Emva kokuba sazifundile ke wenza ingxelo wenza imibono yakhe ezo zinto azakuziveza nizawuvumelana nazo kokuba iCommission izinike ingqwalasela.
I have said that those are inputs, similar to the inputs that are going to be made by the other experts. And those are going to, make up a poikikos of issues that we need to take into account as subs. So I wouldn't say we would reject, we would accept, but we have to consider everything that is going to be placed here. He's an expert, others are experts.
Ingqali naye njengezinye ingqali kuyawuthi ke nenye ezawufaka apha kulembiza zihlanganiswe zonke ezi zinto ukuthi ekugqibeleni kwenziwe into eyodwa ngazo.
What do you say to what De Rover says in paragraph 59?
Asijonga phaya ku 59 paragraph uthini ngalento ethethwa ngu De Rover apho?
And read it with 61 and 62. Reading paragraph 59, it's clear in the last sentence that he says that the incidents at Marikana on the 16th of August 2012 alone caused 34 deaths as a consequence of the crowd management operations implemented by SAPS.
Uthi uDe Rover ke kwisehlakalo saseMarikana sangomhla ka-16 ku-August 2012 sodwa kwasoleka abantu abangama-34 kwizenzo zolawulo lezihlwele ngamapolisa.
Then in the second line of paragraph 61 he says this operation was one requiring more than incidental use of the firearm.
Uthi ke ngokubona kwakhe esisehlakalo kwakungekho sidingo sokuba kusetshenziswe imipu ebukhali.
Paragraph 62 he says, for that reason alone I place this operation at Marikana at the very end of the scale of operations SAPS crowd management is capable of handling. In fact, I strongly believe that as the events unfolded leading up to scene 1 on the 16th of August 2012, SAPS were out of their depth and forced to act beyond current capability levels.
Uyibeka ngolo hlobo ke uDe Rover okokuba ngokubona kwakhe apha ke kwenzeka okokuba amapolisa aze asebenzise izigalo endaweni yokuba banganako okunye bebangakwenza ngaphansi kwemeko babe kuyo ngelo xesha.
Do you agree with your expert? And our expert will say the same thing, that because the police were out of their depth, that resulted in the unnecessary deaths of the 44 people. Do you agree?
I note what is being said there, and I would contextualize my understanding of what I read here. And perhaps just reading through what he is saying, because, if we take those sentences, we lose context. In 59, he says, when I take this track record, I totally understand the frustrations, the emotions, and the anger of SAPS with extensive human cost of the operation at Marikana.
Ubeka ngolo hlobo uthi xa ejonga ke le record lena uyavisisa ingxaki kuyo amapolisa ngesehlakalo esenzeka kunokulahleka nokuphulukana kobomi bempilo yabantu phaya eMarikana kude ku ngalomini.
He then goes to where in the 17 years leading up to Marikana, crowd management operations were responsible for 47 deaths.
Uyibeka ngolo hlobo kokuba kwiminyaka egqithileyo engu-17 ekulawulweni kwezihlwele ngamapolisa kweye kwaseleka abantu abangu-47 kuphela.
The Marikana incident of the 16th alone caused 34 deaths.
uthi ke isehlakalo esasemarikana somhla ka-16 uwodwa nje kwasweleka abantu abangamashumi amathathu nane
As a consequence of the crowd management operations implemented by SAPS.
ngesenzo solawulo lwezithwele lamapolisa.
And I read into that the fact that this is an unprecedented matter.
Ndithi ke kule nto ke uchaza loo nto ukuba yinto engazange yenzeke kwixesha elide apha.
You then go to 60 where you say the basic structure of operations implemented at Marikana is the same as those implemented at 18,341 operations prior to Marikana.
Uyachaza okokuba le ndlela kwakusetyenzwa ngayo emarikana ngale mini iyafana nendlela eyasetyenziswa kwezinye izehlakalo ezingu-18,341 zangaphambi kwale mini.
And this expects us the question, so why did they not produce the experience-based results substitute to expect from the previous application?
Ubuza kokokuba yintoni bangasebenzisanga ubuchule obubuye basetyenziswa kwezi zehlakalo ezingaphambilini.
And that paragraph again says to me it was unprecedented.
Naloo nto ichaza kokokuba esi sehlakalo kuthethwa ngaso apha yinto engazange yenzeke ngaphambilini.
We're having great difficulty in hearing because of the intensity of the storm. I think it's appropriate, therefore, for us to take the tea adjournment at this stage until 3 o'clock in the hope that by then the answers will be more audible than they've been up to now.
Uthi umhlekazi ngoba naku ke
I'd like to see Mr.
ngolu hlobo make
Mr.
sithi
Berger and
ukuthi
Mr.
sime
Mpofu
kancinci
in our room during the tea adjournment.
uzawuthi ngo-3 sithemba okokuba segqithile
As we wait for the rain.
He says he hopes so.
yenzeka ikhokhelele ekubeni abantu baphulukane nobomi babo.
Being a social scientist, those are very strong emotions, frustrated and angry. I am not.
Njengononhlalonhle ke ngamazwi ke amakhulu angiwasebenzayo andinamsindo mna kwaye ngcutheka apho ndikhoyo.
But I note the significance of what he says in his report as an expert.
Kodwa ke ndiyabona ukubaleka kwalento ayithethayo yena njengengcaphephe.
And as I've said, indeed, it is inconsistent with our view that this was a very unprecedented matter.
Ayihambisani ke nombono wethu njengoba sitsho nathi into kubana lento into engazange yenzeke ngaphambili.
We shall argue that even on your own experts' evidence and your opening statement in these proceedings, the deaths, serious injuries, and extensive damage to property that is recorded in Exhibit L was as a result of poor planning, poor execution, with a disastrous outcome. What do you say to that?
Ngenxa ke into ezithethwa zingcaphephe zenu kunye nestatement senu sokuvula sizawuthi ngxophikiswano into kubana into ebengunobangela womonakalo empahla kwakunye nokonzakala nokusweleka ibe kuwenza usicwangciso ngendlela engalunganga engafanelekanga.
My answer remains consistent. I disagree.
Ndisami kule nto bendithetha kwimpilo yam andivumelani nawe.
I would like now to turn to the statement of Mr. White, which is WW2.
Cela sityhile phaa kwistatement sika-White esibizwa u-WW2.
Here's it. Okay. If you are with me, I would like you to read on page 4, paragraph 1.2.4. Which reads as follows: in order to facilitate the task of preparing my evidence, I was provided with a large body of material stored electronically on a hard drive. That evidence included the police presentation to the Commission, which is Exhibit L, videos taken between 9 to 16 August 2012 from a range of sources, relevant policies on public order policing, police documentation relating to the planning and execution of the various operations, witness statements of the police and others relating to the incidents, transcripts of proceedings before the Commission, and other related material. And then at the end, he says, I am advised that I have seen the majority of that evidence, and I am confident that I have seen enough to form a judgment on the appropriateness of the strategy and tactics of the SAPS. And that extract ending on page 5. Have you been reading with me?
Yes, I have.
Uthi ke besigqiba ufunda naye le ndawo ekuqiniseleni lakho ubungqina bakhe unikwe i-material eninzi enye ke kwinto ze-hard drive ezizobuqhakalala becomputer. Uthi ke loo nto ifana ne-presentation yamapolisa kwi-commission neevidiyo zithathiweyo ngomhla wo-9 utsho nge-16 kwakunye neepolisi ezininzi ze-public order policing kunye namanye amaxwebhu ke nezicwangciso ezenziweyo nezitatement ezizamangqina. Uthi ke ngoku uye waxelela into yokubana uninzi lwezinto zobungqina zanele into yokuba kwazi yena ukuthatha isigqibo okanye abone ngendlela abona ngayo ukufaneleka kobuchule kwasetyenziswa ngamapolisa.
I would like to deal with his criticisms which appear from page 17, part 4 of his report.
Ndifuna ke uya phaa ku-17 paper apho agxeka khona kwicandelo lesine ke ngokwingxelo yakhe.
And as we did with the statement of Mr. De Rover, I would like to identify the head notes of his criticism so that we move on quicker, and especially in view of your responses to some of the issues that they are operational matters and you cannot respond thereto.
Ndifuna ke siye ngokukhawuleza njengoba senzile uDirova kwinto ke indlela agxeka ngayo kwenzele siye ngokukhawuleza ngokuba njengoba uthe akuzokwazi uphawula kwizinto ezinento kwenza neoperation ebisenziwa apho.
And I take it too that similarly with Mr. White, you will embrace his valid criticism and you accept that the Commission should consider them in preparing its report.
Ngokunjalo uzokwenza ke ngoluhlobo kubungqina buka White uzocela ke ngokunoba ithathele ingqalelo into esithwa ngoWhite le commission.
If we look at paragraph 4.2.1 on page 18, his criticism is that you, that is the SAPS, refused to engage openly with the Commission and concede points, even those conceded in your opening statement and by Mr. De Rover. Is that a fair criticism?
Into agxeka ngayo into kuba amapolisa ke afuna ukuvuma izinto ezibalulekileyo ezivunyayo napha kwi-opening statement. Indlela agxeka ngayo ke efanelekileyo leyo.
Perhaps I don't understand because, I've just been here 2 weeks. Is this statement produced this week to say we refused to cooperate with the Commission? What is the local standing of what he's saying here? When was it issued?
Mhlawumbi ke inqoba mhlawumbi ndinemviki ezibini qha ndilapha andiboni ke ngoku into intsusa yale nto kuthiwa asinantsebenziswano nale commission.
The statement was filed in these proceedings on 18 January 2013.
And what was the basis of this paragraph? Because we have just started. I'm the first witness of police.
The
basis of the criticism appears partially halfway through that paragraph with the line that's starting on any assessment. Can you see that?
Yeah,
there's a line starting 16 August 2012, and then at the end of that one, he says, on any assessment, and remember I told you he has had access to the evidence that I read out to you, on any assessment that represents a failure of public order policing, but that is particularly the case when the operations are assessed against paragraphs 11 of Standing Order 6262, which states that the success of the operations, quote, will be measured by the results of the operation in terms of cost, damage to property, injury, and loss of life, close quote. Yeah. Do you accept that basis?
I think the way you started this whole thing, I would like to say it's a prejudgment. I note it.
Indlela oqale ngayo ke ndingathi uye wagweba ngaphambi kwexesha nanjengoba uthi sitsho yena egxeka into yokuba kuyo yonke indlela ekuphonononga ngayo ke funeka kukalwe ngale nto ithethwayo into yokubana kujongwa ngeziphumo umonakalo othe wenzeka kwakunye nabantu ukuphulukana kwabo nobomi babo.
National Commissioner, may I ask you, have you had an opportunity to read the statement?
No, I haven't.
National Commissioner kafumana ithuba lokufunda esi statement.
It concerns me because in the paragraphs that follow, which I take it Mr. Malindi is going to take you through, 4.2.2, he makes a general point about what one would expect from the public service in the aftermath of such a failure, and then he deals with a number of criticisms. starting at 4.2.4, it goes on all the way down to 4.2.14 on page 22. So there are, effectively, it looks as if there's 6 main heads of criticism. Now, if you haven't read them yet, it's very unfair, I think, for you to expect you to answer at this stage. So, Mr. Malindi, what would you say if I were to suggest that you cease your cross-examination at this stage? We allow Mr. Berger, who I take it isn't going to cover this ground, Mr. Berger, who assures me he's got a fairly short cross-examination, which should be over by the end of the day, if not the end of the day, reasonably early tomorrow. And you can then proceed with your cross-examination. That will give the National Commissioner the opportunity to read the report, in particular the paragraphs that I referred to, and she will be better able, I would have thought, to answer your questions, and you will be better able to put the questions to her in a way that she readily understands. Would that be a fair way of proceeding?
It will be a fair and practical way, Chairperson.
Uyasho ke nayo council umalindi ndokuba izoba into efanelekileyo kuba ucommissioner kanye kwithuba maka unational commissioner yokwazi ukufunda apha ngoba izinto ezintandathu ezi abonakala igxeka kuzo yena umhlekazi White.
Unless there are other areas you want to cover now, or would you prefer to do it the way I've suggested, stand down now, carry on tomorrow when she's had an opportunity to read the whole report?
Chairperson, I propose that we do stand down now, and I'll also give notice that the National Chairperson should read the statement of Professor Christoph Haynes, and I will refer to the paragraphs that I would like her to read.
I haven't seen the statement. Should I? I haven't seen the statement of Professor Christoph Haynes. I don't
It's
think.
not in yet.
But perhaps you can make a copy available to us as well. They are there.
Their
They'll be
copies
helpful.
are
So we can
available.
all do some homework tonight and be better able to appreciate the subtleties of your cross-examination tomorrow. Is that an appropriate way of putting it?
It is, Chairperson. We will distribute it now, and it will be entered into evidence tomorrow when I resume.
I fear we're going to have a long evening this evening, National Commissioner, you and I, reading this material, but I'm sure we'll be the better for it tomorrow.
Thank you, Judge.
Into ayithethayo
All right,
ke
so
ngoku
you'll stand down for the moment, Mr. Malindi. And we'll all read, when I said the National Commission and I was being inappropriate, because obviously we will all read this material tonight. Mr. Berger, are you ready to cross-examine?
Thank you, Chair.
kuthiwa ke la maxwebhu azawufundwa nale akanjingalwazi we-Hales ngokuhlwa kwenzela azokwazi ubuzwa ngawo ngomso usina Councillor Malindi.
Good afternoon, Jenny.
Good afternoon.
My team and I represent Lonman in these proceedings.
Uyatsho uba iqela lakhe bamele uLonmin.
May I assume that as Commander-in-Chief of the South African Police Service, and in view of the seriousness of the Americana tragedy, that you treated your preparation to give evidence before the Commission with care and responsibility?
Ndingatsho ke njengenxa le nto yenzekileyo ubungqina bakho uye wabulungisa ngenkathalo.
I have tried to the best of my ability.
Ndizamile ngandlela zonke.
As to the statements in the affidavit to which I would like to draw your attention, you have at all material times appreciated the importance of taking the oath in a sworn statement.
Uye waqaphelisisa wabona ukubaluleka kokufunga xa wenza ke ngoku i-statement.
It is correct.
Inyani le.
You would also, as a Commissioner of Oaths yourself, appreciate that if you depose to an affidavit, one does so in the presence of the Commissioner of Oaths.
Uyazi into kubana xa wenza ke ngoku isifungo kanye intetho funeka uyenze ngaphambi ko-commissioner lo wesifungo.
Yes.
Ewe.
And pardon me for debating something which should be trite with between you and I. The Commissioner of Oaths himself should have no interest in the matter addressed in the affidavit.
Yena ke ngoku akufunekanga abe nomdla wale nto ibhalwe ku-affidavit lo commissioner wesifungo.
I'm not certain of that part. I know that it should be a commissioner of oaths.
Andiqinisekanga ngale ndawo kodwa ndiyayazi into yoba kufuneka ibe ngulo ubizwa i-commissioner of oath.
Let me remind you, and I'm sure you'll remember it when I remind you, under the regulations published under the Justices of the Peace and Commissioners of Oaths Act, and I read to you Regulation 7, Sub-Regulation 1 says, a Commissioner of Oaths shall not administer an oath or affirmation relating to a matter in which he has an interest.
Utsho ke kulanda ufunda ku into ba akazokwazi ukuba athathise isifungo kwimeko kanye kwityala anomdla kulo naye kwinto anomdla kuyo.
You remember that now?
Khumbula ngoku lonto leyo?
I don't remember it. I note it as you read it.
Andikhumbuli kodwa ndiyayiva njengoba uyithetha uyifunda.
I'd like to understand the various statements that we have seen, but before dealing with them in the chronology in which they appear, may I ask you this, who drafted your witness statements?
Ndifuna ukwazi qala into yoba istatement sakho sibhalwe ngubani sobungqina bakho.
I did, and I took inputs from various people.
Yayindim ke kodwa ke ndiva ndathatha izinto ezithile ezithethwa ngabantu abahlukeneyo.
But the drafting itself was then done by you.
Kona sadraftwa nguwe.
I have said I did, and I took various inputs from various people.
Ndithi yenziwa ndim loo nto kodwa ndava nezinye izinto ezazithethwa ngabanye abantu.
Yes, my question isn't directed at input. My question is directed at drafting, and as I understand your answer is you drafted your own statements as well as the affidavits you swore.
Uthi wazenza statement kwakunye ne-affidavit apho ke wathi wafunga khona.
I am saying I did, and I took inputs from people into my statement.
Ndiyenze ngokwam loo nto kwaye ndathatha nezinye izinto ezazithethwa ngabanye abantu azifaka kwi-statement sam.
And to the extent that you handed up statements to the Commission as opposed to affidavits, may I assume that also a statement signed by you would indicate to the reader that you've read it before signing it?
Ne-statement ke ukesayinwe nguwe siyabonisa ngumuntu ofundayo into yokuba phambi uba usayine usifundile qala.
It is true.
Inyani leyo.
May I hand up the first statement that we received this side of the table? It's not an exhibit yet. It will become, with the permission of the chair, FFF 25. If I may hand up that document to you and just confirm that this is a document that I believe the evidence leaders received on the 7th of March this year, and we on this side of the table received it on the 8th of March.
Khona statement asibiza u-FFF 25 esasifumanayo thina nge-8 kaMarch nangona ke ngoku evidence level sibona basifumana nge-7 kaMarch.
Chair, if I may indicate that the next exhibit number is FFF 24. It may, however, Chair, make sense if we group it with the bundle of statements that have been in, so we may mark it FFF 2A, for example.
That may be a better plan, Chair, if you agree, if this may be FFF 2A.
Statement ke kuthiwa sizawubiza u-FFF 2A.
Now, General, this is a statement which was prepared to be an affidavit, but it did not materialize as an affidavit. It's only a statement. You'll see on page 9, you signed it in Pretoria on the 7th of March 2013.
Le affidavit ke yaba statement kwaye wayisayina nge-7 kaMarch ePretoria.
Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Ewe inyani leyo.
From your evidence thus far, we know that you drafted it and you would have read it before you signed it.
Sikwebungqina ke siyazi into yoba uyasibhala kwaye phambi usayine uye wasifunda.
Yes.
Ewe.
I did
True.
say yes. I have said yes.
Thank you.
Thi ewe.
You were in fact careful when you signed this statement. You'll see your initial appears at nearly all the pages.
Uye wenza ngobulumko xa usayina ngokuba i-initials zakho zivela kuwo wonke amaphepha.
Except one.
Except
Handle
page
kwelinye.
7.
Yes.
Somebody has gone, taken your statement, and put in an odd-fitting page 7. Doesn't contain your initial, and it doesn't follow upon page 6, and it doesn't lead on to page 8.
Ukhona ke uye wasifakela iphepha lesixhenxe ngoba
Just take your time and let's agree on that.
into kuphepha lesibhozo ayilandeli into ethethwe ilandela le ibithethwe kuphepha lesixhenxe.
I do not agree with that because it was an omission.
No, it was clearly not an omission. I'm trying to understand the riddle. So let's go slowly. Do you see that page 7 is a misfit? It wasn't there. It couldn't have been there when you signed the statement.
Ngabonakala ngathi wayengekho apha iphepha lesixhenxe ngexesha usayina esi statement.
That is what you're saying. It is my statement. And I'm saying there was an omission in
National
page
Commissioner,
7.
National Commissioner, I don't think you're understanding the point. What Mr. Berg is putting to is that 7 doesn't fit in. And that appears from the fact that if you look at 6, paragraph 21 ends with a line and thereafter leave the copy. You turn to the top of page 7, you'll see that the last 2 lines of 21, including the line and thereafter leave the copy, are repeated. So the point that, and then if you look at the bottom of page 7, sorry, the foot of page 7, you see paragraph 25 ends.
Yes.
The last line reading, hold a press briefing the next day. You turn over the page,
Yes.
you find that page 8 contains at the top
Yes.
what must be part of paragraph 26. But the first 2 lines of 26 aren't there because it starts with the words address a press conference. So it's quite clear that page 7 doesn't fit in. That's Council's point. Is that correct, Mr. Berg?
Indeed, that is correct, General, but I'd like to go back to a previous question I asked you.
Maybe before you go, let's deal with it.
Yes.
Sibuyele kule mhlawumbi ngaphambi uba uzoya kule ufuna uya kuyo wena.
On page 6, you have 21.
No 21 paper 26.
And the last sentence of 21 is repeated on page 7.
Yes.
Okay, ilenda yokugqibelela apha ke ngoku apha ku 21 iyaphindwa kakhona apha ku 6 iyaphindwa phezulu apha ku 7.
It is nothing new. It is a repetition.
Hayi into entsha kodwa kuphindwa lento biseyibhaliwe.
And you go to 22, it is not signed.
Xa uya ku 22 ayisayinwanga.
And I can well say it's either that thing has shifted or it's a typographical error.
Kodwa ngingathi mhlawumbi lento iye yashifta yona okanye ingxaki okanye impazamo ibe lapho ngexesha
But there's
bekudayitwa.
nothing new being introduced to that page.
Kodwa akho nto intsha ifakiweyo apha kweli phepha.
Answers are wrong. Let me explain to you why.
That's you.
This is the point I want to come back to. When you signed the statement, this page 7 did not form part of it. And I say that for 2 reasons. If you had read the statement, you would never have allowed the misfit page 7 to stay in. And secondly, more importantly, you would have initialed it. This is not an initial page. So your initial page 7 was taken out. Somebody put in a new page 7. I'll suggest to you presently why. The question I want to ask you is, can you explain this to us?
Ungasichazela into ukuba kutheni ke ngoku ngoba kubonakala njengoba usayina wayengekho lo 7 ukhona omkhuphayo kwafakwa enye 7 ongomnye ungasichazela.
This is my statement, which I submitted on the 7th, and you received it on the 8th.
Esi statement sami sindasifaka nge7 wasifumana nge8.
And it is my original and my first statement. And I have said when I came to this commission that what I saw is not my statement. Because when this statement was brought back to me was that you omitted a page on the statement that you've submitted. And that's a statement you received on the 8th. You acknowledge that.
Into yamkelayo na into kubana ke ngoku.
So if there is any removing of pages and whatever, would I have removed it when I submitted my original statement?
Uba kuphepha elisusiwe ke uyisobe ndim ke ngoku lo ususile ngexesha
And this
ngifaka
is my
istatement.
statement, by the way.
Of ke statement sam esisona.
And I stand by it.
Kwaye ndimile kuloo nto leyo ilapha ko statement.
General, I will submit at the end of this hearing that this is not your statement. You didn't initial this page, and I will argue that you didn't see this page when you signed the statement for obvious reasons.
Into enzayo into
I'll
kungqobhekisa
give
into
you an
kubana
opportunity to deal with that argument I will raise because I want to deal with the second, third, and fourth statement now.
Ngifuna uya ke ngoku-statement sesithathu nesine nesesibini.
You want to answer the argument that I will address at the end of the day?
Ufuna uphendula ukuba ndizawuthini ke xa sigqiba apha kwingxoxo-mpikiswano.
You can continue, but this is my statement.
Ungaqhubekeka kodwa ke esi isi-statement sam.
General, I don't understand your answer for the simple reason, if it's your statement, why didn't you initial this page 7 when you signed the statement?
Into endingayiqondi into yokubana ke ngoku njengoba busayina kutheni ungayifakanga i-initial kuphepha u-7 ukuba nyhani le nto ibikhona phaa kwi-statement sakho?
Do people not make mistakes?
Abantu abazenzi impazamo.
Commissioner, and this Commissioner, I ask the questions and you answer them. So it's unhelpful to ask me whether people make mistakes. May I repeat my question? When you signed the statement, if this page 7 was part of it, why didn't you initial page 7?
I
Ukuba-
did not initial it. That's why it was brought back to me and I initialed a wrong statement because I was understanding that my statement is this.
Ngoba ndandingayikhange ndifake i-initial loo nto ke yathi xesha sabuyiselwa kum ngoba si-statement sam esi.
The second version that we have, we will find in triple F2, General.
Enye into ke ngoku sayifumana iphaa ku-triple
Have a
F2.
look at that. This is now a document identical to triple F2A with the following difference. It is now purported to be an affidavit. You go to page 10, you'll see it's signed by a Lieutenant General who is the Deputy National Commissioner.
Chair.
Correct?
Yes.
Yes, wants to say something.
Chair, sorry to interrupt my learned colleague. Whatever the explanation is, there is, though, another page 7 of the same document which is initialed.
I take it Mr. Berger is going to deal with that in due course.
Perhaps my learned friend, Mr. Semenya, will allow me to develop my cross-examination and it may become clear to him as it goes on.
Ufuna unika ithuba loba aqhubeke ngemibuzo yakhe izocaca nje njengoba siqhubekeka.
Just for the purposes of the record, I think the exhibit Mr. Berger is referring to now is exhibit triple F3.
My triple F2 is a 10-page document with a Commissioner of Oaths signing at page 10.
It's dated, the one dated the 12th is triple F2, and the one dated the 7th is triple F3.
Oh, sorry. It's the other way around in my book, but
Original
my
statement is the
triple
seventh.
F2, according to the record as I read it, is an affidavit signed in Pretoria on the 7th of March 2013.
That's my statement.
So is mine.
There
So
appears
is
to be-
mine, Mr. Berger. Mine is also triple F2. That's what I have.
He's the same as you.
General, we can cut across this. The document I'd like to discuss with you is a 10-page statement by you deposed to before a Commissioner of Oaths in Pretoria on the 7th of March 2013. Do you have that document?
Yes, I do.
Ndiliphethe elo xepha apha kwi-statement esinamaphepha ke ngoku alishumi.
Posed by saying there is an element of confusion, there has been for some time, as to which is triple F2 and which is triple F3. So let's finally and definitively establish which is which, so that such confusion as there has previously been will no longer exist. Because it's obviously not what they called that matters. What you are referring to, Mr. Berger, is a statement dated the 7th.
Chair, chronologically, this one of the 7th of March comes next, triple F2.
Yes.
So if I may suggest that, even if it's for the time being, we call this triple F2 and hopefully we can agree at the end of the day that it is correct.
Uthi sayibiza ke ngu-triple F2 sivumelane ekugqibeleni uba
Some copies of that document have in the meanwhile been marked triple F3. Those who have them can remark them.
apho kubhalwe triple F3 kuzawulungiswa ke ngoku kubhalwe u-triple F2 kwi-statement.
I'm indebted to the chair. General, triple F2 suggests to be an affidavit, but if you look at your initials on pages 1 to 6 and on page 8 and your signature on page 9, you'll see it is identical to the first document we look at, the one we've called FF2A. That's the same document, but what has happened since then is a commissioner has gone and affixed his signature to page 10, and he's initialed all the pages. And of course, as we can expect on page 7, he has now initialed page 7. Still the wrong page, but he initials it. You not.
Uthi uqaphele ke apha kwesi into yokuba nalapha ku page 7 noma na iliphepha elingelilo okanye lingafanekanga balibe lapha kodwa ke i-initials zenziwe.
Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Ewe
This
ndiyayibona lo.
follows a number of things.
Ulandela into
Firstly-
ezininzi emva koko ke ngoku.
You and the Commissioner of Oaths signed this document at different points in time.
Wena ne-Commissioner of Oath Law niye nasayina ngamaxesha ohlukeneyo apha kwe-statement.
No.
Hayi.
But clearly, why didn't you initial page 7 of this one, or was it another slip?
Kodwa ke kutheni ungayifakanga initials nakuphepha lesixhenxe apha okanye yinto elibalekileyo leyo.
How on earth can you and the Commissioner be in the same room, sign at the same time, and again you forget to initial page 7?
Ningaba njani nomnye commissioner kwigumbi elinye namaxesha elinye kodwa nilibale uku-initiala kuphepha lesixhenxe.
Page 7 in my document is initialed.
Yes,
Where's
only
that?
by the Commissioner, not by you, General.
Thetha ke ngocommissioner
I
hayi
don't
nguwe
know which
general.
document you're talking about because the FF2 I have here, I've initialed page 7.
Andiyazi uxwebhu oluthetha ngalo ngoba kweli xwebhu ndinalo ke apha ku-FF2 mna ku-page 7 ndifakile i-initials.
The one that I have not initialed is my original statement. And that's why a second document was given to me to say you've omitted to initial page 7.
General, no, we must assist you. I suspect you've been shown the wrong document. I'd like you to have a look at the document which was set to be deposed to on the 7th of March 2013. Is that the document you look at?
I have both of them, of the 7th and of the 12th.
you
Ndiziphethe
look at the
zombini ke
7th,
ngoku ezi
please.
statement esi sange-7 nesi sange-12.
Did you have the document on page 9? You signed it in Pretoria on the 7th of March.
Thoba uyabona uba usayine
have that
ePretoria
one?
nge-7 kaMarch.
I have,
Now, keep that one before you, please, General, and go to page 10 of that. Is that the one where the Commissioner of Oaths was Lieutenant General Masemola?
Bamba eso ke ngoku yile ngesi eso apha ke ngoku uphepha leshumi u-Lieutenant Deputy National Commissioner
you are correct.
Masemula ewe inyani leyo.
Now, if you go to page 7, you'll see there's only one initial on page 7, and that's of the Lieutenant General.
Not on my document.
Hayi kwezam ke iinkcukacha.
Chair, then I've got a riddle here. I've got a document with page 7 without the initials of the witness on it.
Copy, you're saying, of page 7,
Yes.
only initialed by the Commissioner
Indeed.
and not initialed by the witness.
Yes. Well, we all have that, I'm told.
I don't know.
Kuthiwa ke ngoku nabanye amaqela ezabo zi-initialwe ngu-Commissioner of Oath qha kodwa National Commissioner akasayinanga kuzo.
No, I haven't got that one.
Here's my document.
Yes, and my two commissioners
Well, where do I take this
have
one?
also
Because
got
I got this one
a
here
document which
On Monday when I came.
they regard as 772,
Same thing.
the one dated the 7th
So
of
why
March,
must I take that
which
one?
contains page 7, only initialed by the Commissioner and not initialed by the deponent.
The
That is
7th
triple
is
F2,
it.
and can I
Yes,
debate
the
that
7th.
with the witness so that we don't lose
And I
time?
got the 7th. I didn't
I'll
sign
ask
page
Ms. Pillay to
not-
put triple F2 before the
Page 7,
witness.
I
He's not
did.
listening to you at the moment. He's talking to Ms. Pillay. They're trying to sort out the correct document. So wait for that conversation to conclude before you ask your next question.
Okay. Because I don't know. The statements I have are certainly different from yours.
Istatement nazo ke
And I got
ingathi
them
asifani nezakho kwaye zam ndiziphethe apha phambi kwam.
Chair, may I ask whether the...
Yes, that a copy, can I give you? Yes. That a copy of triple F2, which that's the statement dated the 7th of March, which can... Huh? I understand Ms. Pillay is left on the table. Is that correct? We were going to give you one of ours, but if it's there already, we withdraw our offer to give it to her.
Thank you.
This and that.
General, I hope you have the correct copy now, because I can't have a meaningful debate with you if you have a wrong document. Can I just now make sure that you have a document, an affidavit by you marked FFF2?
Uphethe uFFF2 phambi kwakho.
Remember the documents I have. I was given and I marked them FF2 and whatever. And clearly, this document and the documents I'm having, we're not talking about the same documents.
General, will you bear with me for a while? Do you have a document in front of you marked FFF2?
It would help you, advocate, to understand that I have a FFF2. I have a new FFF2 that I've been given
Please
now.
take the new FFF2. Put away all the other FFFs. Just put the new FFF2 before you, because that's the second stage of my debate. There are only 4 stages. Bear with me. Let's do stage 2 now.
I'm sorry about this. Then we won't have a common conversation.
No, we
Because
will.
I have statements here. You have to say to me why my statements are wrong.
He doesn't have to say anything to you. He's going to ask you some questions and you must answer them. So just relax. I understand you've got a number of statements, and that's causing the trouble. What Mr. Berger says to you is, please get hold of the new FFF2 that you've been handed.
That's the third
Now,
statement.
hang on to that. Ignore all the others for the moment.
Okay.
Concentrate on that while he asks you questions in what he calls stage 2. Is that what you want to happen, Mr. Berger?
Absolutely.
akajongisise kulo FFF2 asandomnikwa ngoku.
General, I'm going to try again now.
You can try.
If we can have eye contact. Do you have the new FFF2 now in front of you, the statement dated 7 June, where page 7 March, where page 7 only has the initial of the Commissioner of Oaths?
Uphethe lo FFF2 through umcha. Apho ke ngoku pha ku7 ku sign qha Commissioner of Oath.
Do you have that?
Yes, I see that.
Ndiyayibona lonto.
Commissioner, please forgive me, but I think you've got the other one in front of you as well. It's only going to confuse you. You just concentrate on the new FFF2, and you won't be confused by another document in front of you. I think that's what you want, Mr. Berger. Is that right?
Indeed. I'll be indebted if the learned General will give effect to that request, because then we can get on.
Ucela uGeneral ajongisise kule umcha uFFF2.
So, General, FFF2 is the same document we have as FFF2A, but it's now suggesting to be an affidavit, and that we see from page 10, where the Lieutenant General has signed it.
Le uFFF2A no FFF2 bayafana kodwa ke umahluko uloba lesibini affidavit apho sibona kuphepha leshumi uDeputy National Commissioner esignile.
And I've put to you that you and the Commissioner were not signing at the same point in time for 2 reasons. The first reason is, we know that you've signed FFF2A, the statement, because we've already seen that. That was a statement, and that you had been signed already by the time that the Commissioner affixed his signature and names to page 10.
Lo FFF2 ke uyabonakala yona ba ku statement lo ubizwa FFF2A ngoba kulapho ke ngunawe no commissioner waye wasigna khona kanye wajikitya khona kuphepha leshumi.
And the second reason why I say that is, he initialed all the pages, and he of course initialed page 7, but we know you never initialed page 7. That's another reason why we know you weren't there when he suggests to the outside world he took the oath from you.
Sibona ke kuphepha lesixhenxe apha isinye isizathu into kuba yena uthe wafaka initials zakhe ubonisa lento ba wawungekho pha ngelixesha yena exela into bana uye wakwenza into ba uthathe isifungo.
You want to comment on that?
Ufuna uphefumula ke kulonto ithethe ngolo hlobo.
I think my issue still remains. I really would like to understand these documents, because the documents, you have the documents I have. Even if I concentrate on this one, my answer I don't have.
Noba ndithi ndizawujongisisa kwesi sodwa ke statement kodwa ke impendulo ke anikwazi ukuba ndibe
Using
nayo
different documents.
ngoba
The
ndisebenzisa
third
mna
reason
amaxwebhu
why I
ahlukileyo.
suggest you weren't with the Commissioner when it is suggested you took an oath, is I would have thought when you depose to an affidavit, you would read the document before you take the oath. Now, you couldn't have read this document because page 6 doesn't lead on to page 7, and page 7 doesn't lead on to page 8. Got the same old problem.
uthi ingxaki into yokuba xa ijongile phaa kuphepha lesithandathu alikusi phaa kuphepha lesixhenxe ayilandeleki into efundeka phaa kwaye nale iphaa kwelesibhozo ayilandeli le ibiseyithethwe kuphepha lesixhenxe.
And we know you read statements before you take an oath before this commission, because you understand the seriousness of the matter.
Ngoba uyazi undileko ke lo mba uphambi uba uthatha isifungo uyazifunda qala istatement.
I do want to say my statement of the 7th that I submitted, I have read, I have come to this commission to say the statement that was presented was not my statement. That's why my lawyer corrected it, because I said I submitted the statement on the 7th. All I knew was that I hadn't signed page 7. It was brought to me, I signed, and I had read my statement. Whether there were errors or not, it's another story.
Into bendithethileyo into yokuba ndifundile ke ngophaa kwesixhenxe ndaze apha ndazotsho into yokuba ke ngoku bendingasananga u7 kwaye ilungisiwe loo nto leyo.
Mr. Berger is busy with another point. He's suggesting to you that when you signed your statement on the 7th, you didn't do so in the presence of the Commission of Oaths, and you didn't, am I correct?
Indeed.
And you didn't swear that the statement was correct before the Commission of Oaths. That's what he's putting to you.
Kuthi into ayithethayo ke usina Councilberg into yoba le statement zange sityikitye phambi ko-Commissioner of Oath kwaye zange afunge ekhona u-Commissioner of Oath.
In my statement, the one that I have, and I'm saying I'm very confused by all these big bits and pieces of papers. In my statement, there is a Commissioner of Oaths.
Yes, my
And
point is
I
a
was-
My
different one.
statement of the 7th.
My point is a different one, General. The Commissioner of Oaths report to you, he shouldn't take your oath. And secondly, you weren't in the same room when he signed, and that I've given you 3 reasons for, and I haven't had a response to it yet.
Awukaniphendule kwento ndithethile ngoba into endithethile ngoba esebenza ngaphantsi kwakho yena u-Commissioner of Oath wayengekho ngeli xesha wawutyikitya i-statement esi sakho.
If there is an error in terms of using it, Commissioner of Oaths reporting to me, I'll accede to that, but he is a Commissioner of Oaths. That's why I asked him to do it for me.
Ukuba ikhona impazamo ke ndiyawuyamkela kodwa ke nangona esebenza ngaphantsi kwam nguye ke ngokuwenza umsebenzi wakhe yokuba andifungise u-Commissioner of Oath.
General, but when you signed, he didn't take your oath. That's the more serious criticism I have of this document.
Into enigxeka amandla ke ngolu xwebhu into yokuba ngeli xesha utyikitya wayengekho yena
Because you weren't there at the same time.
naningekho kuloo ndawo enye ngexesha elinye.
Advocate, you're saying that, but I'm saying I took this oath with General Masemola.
Utsho wena uthetha njalo kodwa mna ndithi ngexesha ndifunga wayekhona ke ndithathiswa nguye uGeneral Masemola.
Why then did you swear that you read the statement which you hadn't read? Because we know the statement doesn't make sense. Any basic reader of English understands there's a page being slipped in which doesn't fit.
Ngoba into ebhalwe kwestatement ayivakali nomuntu owaziyo ufunda isingesi uyabona uba kukho iphepha elingangeniyo phaa elifakwe nje phaa kwesa statement.
I had read the statement, and if printing or whatever mistake happened is another thing, but I read the statement, and it doesn't change the meaning in any case.
Ndifundile istatement uba ikhona impazamo ngexesha bekuprintwa ke okanye kwenziwe enye into ayitshintshi le nto ithethwa apha.
And why didn't you initial page 7?
Kutheni ungafaka initials kuphepha lesixhenxe?
I did say it was an omission, that's why it was brought back to me.
Ndithe ke into yampa impazamo ezange yenzeke yiloo nto sabuyiselwa kum kakhona.
No, but the omission was on F2A. Do you suggest to the Commission that you made this mistake twice?
No. On the statement I have, it is signed. That's why I'm saying I don't know where this document you bring to me. The statement I have here that I was given on Monday, it's got everything signed.
Andilazi eli phepha uthena ngalo kuba eli ndilinikwe ngomvulo liyabonisa uba yonke into kutyikityiwe kuwonke amaphepha.
General, are you saying that you're in possession of a statement
That
signed?
is signed, yes, on page 7.
No,
Definitely.
signed on the 7th.
On the 12th.
Yes, that's the difference. The debate at the moment revolves around a statement that's been signed on the 7th, not the 12th.
And I have said the statement on the 7th, indeed I did omit signing page 7. What brings the statement of the 12th was for me to be able to sign that, all the pages.
ndiyatsho into yoba kwesi 7 nam ndashiya ke zange ndisayine phaa ku-7 sabuyiswa yiloo nto ke esi 12 sabuyiselwa kumba nge-12 ndikwazi ukuthi ndisayine wonke ndiwatyikitye wonke amaphepha.
And it is where the mistakes then happens. Then I come back to this commission to say, my statement is a statement of the 7th.
Kulapho impazamo ezenza khona yiloo nto ndabuza kule commission ndathi ke ngoku i-statement sam ki-statement samhla wesixhenxe.
It is on the basis of that then my lawyer corrects the statement of the 12th to say the statement of the 12th doesn't represent what I submitted on the 7th.
Yiloo nto ke wayilungisa nayo loo nto leyo usenior counsel wam kodwa sithi ayimeli kanye ibekwe endaweni yale nto ibithethwe kwi-statement isiphaa esingeniswe ngomhla we-7.
General, you're anticipating the debate. You now refer to versions 3 and 4. I'm going to deal with them carefully, and they will increase the riddle. I'm simply at riddle 2 still. I'm only at triple F2. And I don't have an explanation. I'm going to go on now. I don't have an explanation for you not signing initialing page 7, not reading the document, and using a document which had been previously signed by you, which is now supposed to be taken an oath of by a commissioner who reports to you. I don't have any answer to that.
Andikafumana impendulo ke kwezi zinto ezo ngoba ngacacelwa into yoba uye wasityikitya ungasifundanga esi statement.
You do have an answer, and my answer is my statement is a statement of the 7th. Whether it has mistakes or whatever, it's another issue. And on the statement of the 7th, I omitted to sign page 7.
Ufumene impendulo noba kunempazamo kodwa i-statement sam besingomhla statement somhla we-7.
And the statement of the 12th, I then say to this commission, it doesn't represent my statement that I've submitted. And we make corrections on the basis of my statement of the 7th.
Kuye kwenziwa ke izilungiso phaa kwi-statement sam endiye ndasenza phaa nge-7.
Let us see what you say in version 2 on page 7. That page which is troubling us so much. May I read with you paragraph 23?
Mr. Barry, you're still busy with the 7th of March.
Yes, yes indeed.
The witness has referred to the 12th of March, but I understand you're going to be dealing with that later.
I'm going to deal with that later, sir.
So you're concentrating at the moment on the 2 statements dated the 7th.
Indeed.
One which is triple F, which is now anyway, triple F2, and the other is triple F2A.
Correct.
And triple F2A is the document which the witness has signed.
Correct.
Except in respect, and initialed, except in respect to page 7.
Correct.
And is not signed by the Commissioner.
Correct.
And on page 10, and not initialed by the Commissioner on any of the pages.
Correct.
That's 2A.
That is the document which is used in AAA2 to become, so we're told, an affidavit. The identical document, there's just a Commissioner.
This one is also not signed.
Triple F2 is that document which has now got the imprimatur of a commissioner, so we're told. He initials all the pages and he signs on the last page, and I've had the debate with the witness now. That's where we are.
Finished then with the events of the 7th of March?
No, if you give me 3 minutes, I'll finish that, Chair, with your leave. What I want to show you, General, is your version at this stage on page 7 of triple F2. That's the outfitting page 7.
Sorry, let me just ask. This is the statement you gave me out now. Can I put it aside and use my statement?
No. No, will you stay with the one we've given you? Otherwise, we're going to run.
Because you are confusing me. I received this one from her. I received this one from you. I have 2 statements.
No, but General, it's because with great respect, you don't listen to our request. Our request is to put away your statements. They make you demakar. Use the statement that Ms. Pillay put before you. That's the one I'm debating with you now.
Ucelwa ke uNational Commissioner makasebenzise statement sibekwe ku Ms. Pillay ngoba zonke ezi zimenza xakeke.
Triple F2, the new one. Can I ask you to go to page 7, please?
Let me say, remember the statement that is in my file, that is Mark 2, was also given to me by this commission.
Khumbula into yoba nesi statements ke sikufayile yam naso sibhalwe u2 ndisifumene apha kwakule commission.
Can I ask your attention for the new triple F2, page 7?
That's fine.
Lungile.
Paragraph 23. There you say, on the afternoon of August the 16th, 2012, I received a call from Lieutenant General Mbombo, who informed me of the decision to implement a dispersal operation of the plan.
uyatsho into
Was
yokuba
that
emva
correct?
komini ngomhla we-16 apha ufumane umnxeba vela kulieutenant general Mbombo owaxela into yoba isigqibo sokuba kwenziwe ke ngoku isicwangciso esi sokuhlakaza.
That is correct.
Was
Inyani
that
leyo.
the full truth?
Inyani
is a-
epheleleyo leyo
I have said so.
nditshilo.
And in paragraph 24, on the same page, I just have to read you the last sentence. You say, I then related the same information. This is now after the tragedy. I then related the same information to the Minister of Police telephonically and advised him that I shall be attending to the matter personally. Is that true, and is that the whole truth?
Njengoba isithi uba ndiye ndathi ke lo lwazi lolo ndalugqithisela ke ngokumphathiswa wamapolisa ngomnxeba ndamcebisa into yokuba nangokwam ndizawuya ndiyokubona loo nto yenzeka into ofuna iqonda uba yinyaniso yonke leyo na.
Yes, it is.
Ewe yiyo.
Perhaps we can tomorrow start dealing with version 3, Chair.
The Commission will adjourn until 9:30 tomorrow morning.
Sigqibile ke siyawugqibezela ngomso siyawuza ngomso khona ke icala emva kwentsimbi yethoba.
Yeah. I don't want to mix this.